I've done this video twice. This is my third try. Because it's an odd subject. Now, as of April of this year, my sole income was as a YouTuber. And I remember it was early September, late August, that we went to a creator day in Vancouver. And the question was asked of the room, and there was a couple dozen creators. How many of you have YouTube as your sole income? And about 6 or 7 hands went up. And I went, huh. And in a couple of cases, when I talked to them, I had a bigger channel than they did for subscribers. I just didn't have the view count. And, it's that delicate balance. Now, for people who look around online, you'll see that the money's gone to my head, that I've changed somehow over the last 2 years since the channel started. The only actual change in who I am is that I'm happy. The only difference between videos I did when my channel started, and I'm talking about my hockey channel where, this is the set for it. The only change is that I'm happy. I haven't changed. I swear less. I try to keep my videos shorter. And I have an ability now, because this is my prime income and my only income, I have an ability to, when something happens, I can report on it immediately. Barring me being out and doing whatever, I have an ability to report on it immediately. The one that baffles me though is when money comes up, it's a sensitive subject. So anytime that a YouTuber talks about burnout, and I've been reading a lot on this. So you have your big YouTubers who have millions of subscribers, and they get burned out. They get burned out from all these videos they're doing because there's always a pressure, get bigger. Your next video's got to be bigger. And if your next video is smaller, has less views, maybe makes less revenue, it drops. And then the perception becomes, oh crap, I'm making less, I'm getting less. What's happening? And then if the next video makes less than that one, then there's full on panic. And there's a lot of that with YouTubers, and as easy as it is to go up, it's that easy to go down. So where I try to balance it is with advertising. Now, I never look at a video and go, I need to get this to X amount of time because advertising reasons. For instance, today I'm wearing Ottawa because I did a video about the Senators. Video's not 10 minutes long. I am not able to put in more than one advertisement. No video that's below 10 minutes. At 9:59 or less, you're not able to put any other advertising in. Anything that's beyond 10 minutes, you can. And you can set it so YouTube automatically puts in those mid-roll ads. And I've been doing a lot of research into it and looking at it. And it's a practice that is pretty popular among bigger YouTubers. Now, where this gets kind of different for me is, like, I've got this entertainment guy channel where I talk about everything, and then I've got my hockey channel. And on the hockey channel, there's a small hockey community. There's not a very big hockey community. And Steve Dangle, one of the bigger YouTubers, well, he has a contract with Sportsnet, and he does rating for Sportsnet. So YouTube ad revenues, he can get them, but he's not reliant upon said revenues. So the odds of getting a ton of advertisements or him needing the advertisements, it's not the same. So when I look at his hit counts, his videos get more hits than mine, but he does far less videos. He doesn't need them. He doesn't need to do it. And I've never got the impression from Steve Dangle that he wants to be just a YouTuber and not a part of the media. And that's where I think there's a difference from me and some others. Now, I always have people saying, come to my city and do a meetup. In order to do that, I need to have the money to do it. And when my income is through YouTube, and as well, I have Patreon. But Patreon money, every other month, Yvonne and I go through, and anybody who's at the $8 or $6 level, we put together a package for them. And we do jersey giveaways. We're late on the jersey giveaway this month, admittedly. But we do the jersey giveaway every month. So some of the money we make off Patreon is going right back to the patrons. And so, it's a balancing act, because on top of having, this, I also have a wife and 3 kids I'm supporting. Yvonne works with me on this channel, and she does a lot with the Discord. She does a lot with Patreon. She minds the email, the Hockey Guy email, more than I do. And she's always talking to me about, hey, you're getting this, people have said this, people have said that. And there have been times where maybe I make a mistake in a video and somebody says, hey, and tells me, but she gets the message and she goes, Shannon, you made a mistake. And then I have to go in and fix it. So without her helping me, I couldn't do this. No chance. It'd be and it got way too much. About 6 months ago, I went to her and I said, I need your help. I can't do this alone anymore. The channel's too big. So I needed her help. So yes, she's a full partner. I may do all the videos because she's not comfortable doing a video, because the internet's a horrible place to people who don't look like Natalie Portman or Scarlett Johansson or whatever your ideal is. So she's not one to want to be in front of the camera, but she'll park herself behind it and post videos when we do meetups and stuff like that. But it's weird because there's this perception that Shannon's changed. Shannon's completely different. It's gone to his head. Well, what's gone to my head? I still live in the same house that I did a year ago. We're still fighting with the fact there's not enough room for everybody. That we need more room. This month I went out and I bought a really good vacuum because my son broke her vacuum about a year ago. And I was like, I want to get you a good vacuum. In my first marriage, we went through vacuums about once a year because we get the crappy $150 ones. And by the end of the year, they don't do the only thing that you want a vacuum to do, which is suck. Right? That's it. That's all. Just suck and you're good. Which is, some hockey teams are like that too, but this is not about hockey. So I got her that. And yeah, it cost $250. It was regular $500, and I spent $250 because it had $249 off. I saw it at Canadian Tire and I said, we're buying that. I've bought her things she needs. And, 4 months ago now, we bought that van for $5,000. It's a lot of money. And we bought it without doing any financing, without any of that, because I don't want a loan. I don't want to worry about loans and any of that crap. But, accounts stayed in the negative. So that's where a line of credit comes in handy, and it kind of sucks at the same time, because now your account sits in the negative. And again, I buy jerseys. Part of that has to do with the fact that it is kind of a defining thing. And that's also a topic of conversation, is that he talks about his collection all the time because it's epic. And I'm proud of the collection that I've got. I'm proud of the jerseys that I have. And if anybody knows the story of me from when I was a little kid until now, collecting jerseys is kind of what I've always wanted to do, even as a little kid. My grade 4 picture is me wearing an Edmonton Oilers blue with orange sleeves, and it just said Edmonton across the front because it wasn't actually NHL licensed. But man, I wore that shirt all the time. I thought that was awesome. And I had a Canucks one too, and I'm trying to remember which one it was, but I know I had a Canucks shirt that was black and red and yellow. And it wasn't, again, licensed, but all I cared about was that it said Vancouver. And it was in my eyes, the Canucks. And I always wanted to own shirts, and I used to ask my mother all the time, can I get a jersey? No, they're $40. I can't afford $40. Yeah, they were $40. So when I became an adult, I collected them. And I was up to a collection of 30, I want to say 35 or 36 when I met my ex, and then I stopped collecting because I had 2 small kids. And, I collected here and there while we were married, but my collection at the time that she left was in the 50, 55 range. So in a 15-year relationship, I gained maybe 20, 25 jerseys. But again, the sheer number was really high, and people are like, wow, all he ever does is spend his money. Not really. As a for instance, and I'm looking for it. I don't have it here. I think it's over there. I have jerseys from ages ago that are still on this rack. The problem is, this is in order of my best jerseys to my least best jerseys, for lack of a better term. Favorite to least favorite, so to speak. And so Most of my favorites are going to be the more recent ones because they're in better shape. And because I find ones that I've wanted for a long time, or people send me ones I've wanted for a long time. But I do have a number of jerseys that are really old. And when the channel started blowing up, one of the things that I thought made what I was doing a little different from what other people were doing was the unboxings and the jersey collecting and coining the term Jersey Christmas. That at any point during the year, it could be Jersey Christmas. Now, I don't call it that anymore because it's kind of just become a monthly thing. And for instance, this past month, revenues were good. This month, the revenues. So you get your revenue in June, right? And then YouTube, you get paid out at the end of July. So during any given month, I know how it's going to be next month. July, I knew August was going to be bad, and I knew that the whole way through. And I could have done things that would have improved my revenue. I could have done more live streams. I could have put out more videos on Toronto, Vancouver. I could have just flooded the channel with really popular teams, and I thought, no, don't do that. Don't ever do that. Because as soon as you're just doing the videos you know will be popular, rather than the video that you're interested in, and a channel video that maybe covers something that other people aren't, once you just give in and you're just doing it just for the popularity, you're kind of hosed. And it is that fine line where, and I see it in all forms of media, where the most popular thing will get the most videos. And the most news coverage. You look at the news right now, the American news is pretty much Trump 24/7 because it gets ratings. So if I'm watching news and it's Canadian news, it'll talk, right now it's talking about forest fires, it's talking about the Canadian-Syrian dispute, it's talking about a lot of other things to do with elections upcoming in Quebec, or the fallout of the election in Toronto / Ontario. And all of this stuff. But yeah, if it's American news, it's just, hey, Trump. Because that's ratings. And it hurts the media, and it makes it look kind of bad. Because it's like, there are other things going on right now. And so as somebody who has a channel, and now that my channel has grown to the point where it's my source of income, I feel a certain amount of responsibility to those subscribers. It's why when people said this at meetups, like, why doesn't Shannon just settle it down? Just take some time off. And they've said, that's my wife says, well, just take a few days off and just relax. And she said he can't. And I can't. I really, really can't. As an example, go ahead and grab this. These are our stickers that I use to make the small magnets. Those small magnets on the board, that is the NHL standings according to me and according to the channel. I've had that on the board for a week and a half. And I had it behind boards, so people are like, are you going to go over all the standings? It's like, I already got them up. But I made sure the channel couldn't see it, because the channel, somebody with a big TV might be able to look and go, oh, I see where all the... Oh, that's the channels, and that's Shannon's predictions. So I made sure they weren't visible. But I've got 3,200 stickers here that I plan to turn into magnets. I just need magnet sheets and enough cardboard to make it happen, but I intend to turn them all into magnets. Why? Again, it's something different. But that's something I spend money on. And I figured, yes, it's like $45 or something worth of... Because they were $1.89 each, and there's 25, about two, and it's about $45 that I've spent just on those stickers. And then I've got the other magnets. So I've got a set of magnets that I made here. That was $40 for that one. It was $40 for another one. So it's all of that too, that, I do that while I can. But it all comes back to advertising. And it is something that, like, for instance, Tobuscus, Toby Turner. Toby's on his way back up, I think. Maybe. According to Social Blade, he's still losing subscribers like crazy. But at the same time, Toby he seems like a really decent guy, and I get it. There's some bad things he did, and there are some things that he he did that people are still mad at him about. And it does seem like the YouTube platform has passed him by, and his way of being, but he's trying to adapt to it, and honestly, he gets kudos from me for making the effort. But I was watching a video of his that was 13 or 14 minutes, and I think there was 3 mid-roll ads in there, and because of where they were placed and the timing of them, I could tell he had it set so they automatically were added. I don't do that for the most part. There are times where it happens, and I'll go in after and I'll be like, okay, where are the ads? Oh crap. No, that looks awful. But it's that's strange. So you've got certain people who say Shannon's greedy and he's trying to get all this money out of YouTube. Well, no, we're driving a van from 2007. We're not driving a brand new vehicle. We don't even have that. I haven't got a lease on a car. I would love to have a nice car. We can't afford it. So the amount of money is overstated. And the other problem is that with advertising, okay, and its revenue, it means that on any given month, it can fluctuate. For example, last December, I made almost twice as much as I made in January, even though in January my view counts were 200,000 views higher than December, because there's that much of a discrepancy. I was absolutely stunned when January rolled around this year, and I saw just how much it dropped. I knew it was going to drop. I had no idea. And I made less than 2/3 of what I'd made the month before. So it's really hard to come up with a budget, and it is really hard to plan ahead. It's part of the reason we're here instead of being in a bigger house. Like, yes, I could move to a bigger house, and some months it would be like, yeah, rent, we can do that. We can pay all the bills. We'll be fine. And bigger house, I'm talking around here, it would be $2,400, $2,500 a month for rent. And because of the fact that I'm self-employed and I've got write-offs that bring that income down, I don't qualify for a loan for a mortgage. So I'm in that no man's land, right? And so if I'm going to pay $2,400, $2,500 a month in rent, and then all of the other bills come up, and then all of a sudden an adpocalypse happens. And we saw that happen 2016, 2017, where something happens and all of a sudden ad revenues on the platform drop through the floor. There was one channel I saw that was popular where the guy showed that his ad revenues went from in the $100 to $200 a day range to 12. 8 to 12. And he was rightfully mortified that he might end up out on the street. And this is where, people say, well, you have to go and get a regular job. But if I'm living in a bigger house, one that can fit this family, one that we can be comfortable in rather than cramped, and there's a lot of screaming kids and a lot of frustration in this house because it's small, but we do the best that we can with it. It's small. It's a townhouse, and there's my wife, myself, 3 kids, and it's 3-bedroom. So math tells you 5 people in 3 bedrooms, there's going to be conflict. There's going to be issues. But getting into a 4-bedroom, which is what we need, is very expensive. And doing that when you're still digging your way out from spending $5,000 up front to get a van, it's a lot. So then you take all that, and then, and my wife read this too, and I told her to stop. That she looked online to see what was being said about me, and she said, these people are saying you've changed. It's gone to your head. You're selfish. You're money hungry. And I said, yeah, I know what they're saying, because I've seen it. Oh, he's greedy. Look how greedy he is. Yeah, feeding a family of 5 is expensive, and then you've got the cats, and you've got clothing expenses. I know Yvonne makes all the clothing for the kids. If you see me wearing a t-shirt, odds are either she made it or she altered it. There are some I still have which she hasn't altered, but I have some as well that I got from Blue Notes that the sleeves have shrunk, so the sleeves don't look right anymore. So she has to fix the sleeves for me. Doesn't have to. It's either that or I give it away to Goodwill, and we do that. We regularly give clothes away to Goodwill because kids grow out of them, and it's our way of giving back. But there are a lot of expenses. There's a lot of money that goes out. I know there's been times where I go, oh, good, we're good. But there are other expenses. There's lawyer expenses that have now become a thing, and it's going to cost us, I think it's altogether probably about $3,000. I'm not going to talk about that on the channel. And it's not something that I did or something that I said or something that involves me, but it is an expense for us, and it's necessary. It was honestly necessary years ago, and it's one of those situations where, again, I'm not going to talk about it, but it's $3,000. It's a lot of money. Then you factor in that we went to Vegas. We did the trip to Vegas, which was channel related, and that was expensive. Even though we got a good deal on the flight tickets, even though we got a good deal on all of our stays at the hotels, we did not pay full price to go see Blue Man Group either. Even despite all of those discounts, it honestly was expensive. Added up to a lot of money. And I watched as both of our bank accounts just bottomed out. So that when we came back, like a year ago today, I was up filming at Whistler. I can't go to Whistler right now. We may try it next month. But again, people want me to do meetups, and it's like I don't have the ability to do that right now. It'll probably be very slow, plodding meetups. The amount that you make doing this is not as high as a lot of people think it is. I am, for instance, Yvonne and I right now qualify as middle class. So all I could think when I saw that was, it is the first time in my life I'm not lower class. It is the first time I've ever been in a situation where I don't really need a handout. I don't need a GST check. Okay, that's kind of fantastic. But I've lived on welfare. I've lived with very little. I have had months where we pawned everything we owned just to get food in the house. Not here, but with the first time I was raising kids, we had months where we would pawn our stuff off just so we had money for craft dinner to feed the kids. The idea that, and this is baffling to me, the idea that the money's gone to his head. What money? Where? How? And it makes the whole idea of the YouTube advertising thing tougher, because online there's always advertisements. Any site you go to, there's advertisements, no matter where you go. And like when I was doing the preview videos, like for me to get this board together, okay, with all the previews, all the names and everything, and get all the channel votes and everything, it was taking me about half an hour, 45 minutes to get that up. And that's so that's an hour to an hour and a half that I'm not on screen, so that's not paid time. And then you've got the history videos. I honestly, I'm taking a loss on the history videos because I don't make as much on the history videos I'm posting on the Hockey Guy channel as I would, honestly, if I just did a video every day where I said, hey, look, here's who's still a free agent, I would make way more money than talking about the NHL's history. But I think history is important. It's something my wife brought up at one point early on in the summer, and I said, you know what, that's a good idea for a series, and during the off season I can do that. But again, as the channel gets bigger, there will always be detractors. As this channel grows, and it grows much slower than the other one, and I understand that, but there's still going to be detractors. Still going to be people who say, you know what, man, he was better before. Because that's always the way it works. Any workplace I've had, I have left saying, this was a better place to work when I started here than it is now. Is that true? Probably not. Probably not. There was probably all these things that would have aggravated me when I first got there that I didn't notice because I was new. But it is the trick that as this channel, as the hockey channel has gone past 50,000, this channel now is at 3,700 and something. There will be people who say, oh, it's really gone to his head. It hasn't. I have plenty of nights where I'm sleepless because I'm worried about a mistake I made in a video, or, oh crap, I did something stupid, or something like that. I know that I got taken to task for including Claude Giroux as a center when I was talking about the top 20 centers in the league. And I'm sorry, but I stand behind it because Giroux took over 1,000 faceoffs. Did he line up as a winger on Couturier's line? Yes. Did he also spend time playing center? Yep, he did. And I have found over the last 2 years that when something like this comes up, you don't apologize because it doesn't do any good. You don't go back and redo everything because, again, that doesn't do any good either. You state your position, you state why, and you move on. And it is tricky because there will always be the accusations. And, one of the reasons that I watch videos from channels that have 1.5, 3 million, 6 million subscribers in one case is that they go through the same uncertainty that I do. They go through the same nervousness that I do and the same second guessing that I do. I second guess myself all the time, constantly, always, because it's just kind of what I do. And it is something that it's why I don't Google myself anymore. I used to. I thought it was fun for a while there because when you're an underdog and you've got like 1,000 subscribers, people are like, "Hey, you should check this. This is fun." But when you hit about 50,000, that's when it's, I really don't like this guy. And it's, I mentioned Steve Dangle earlier. Anytime Sportsnet posts a Steve Dangle article on Facebook, the first 3 or 4 comments are, "Why does this guy have a job? Why is this guy in my newsfeed? Oh, I think I'm going to have to unsubscribe from Sportsnet on Facebook because I'm tired of seeing him. This guy doesn't know anything. Oh, good, the Leafs homer's on." And I see all this and I go, yeah, that makes me feel better. Because he's good at his job. He's good at his job. His Leaf videos are good, and when he talks about the rest of the league, he's pretty good too. He does a bunch of jump cuts. He doesn't do anything in one cut like I do. It's completely different from what I do, but I respect it. And when I see people just crapping all over everything he does, I say, you know what? This is just part of how the internet works. So I stay away from it. And I've got a meetup coming up in 2 weeks here in Abbey, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. I've genuinely come out of having a channel with real friends. Not just, subscribers and fans, but friends. And I much prefer that. When somebody wants me to sign something, I'm like, really? You want my autograph? Aren't I ruining that stick if I autograph it? Okay, so I sign it. But there's part of me that says, geez, you're this is weird. There was a joke I used to have running at my old job when I was working at Vantage Foods in Chilliwack, which is no longer Vantage Foods. New ownership and all. But there was one woman that I used to bug the crap out of her constantly. So I knew where she always sat at the same spot in the lunchroom, and I said, all right, I'm going to make up for the fact that I've been bugging you all day. Here. And I'd hand her 6 pieces of paper, or I would leave them where she was going to sit, and I'd just have my autograph on all 6. And then she'd come over and she'd yell at me, and she'd tear the papers up or crumple them up and throw them in the garbage. I'm like, those are going to be worth money someday. I'm a celebrity. I'm a star. And my joke at the time was that I had been Employee of the Month at that plant in September of 2010. And that because I had been Employee of the Month once, that meant that I was a little bit higher than her on the scale, and I could probably talk to management about getting her some more money if she'd stop complaining all the time. And of course, she'd scream and yell. Everybody else would get a good laugh out of it, and all of my signatures would go in the garbage. So now when I have anybody actually say, hey, can I get your autograph? Can I get a selfie? I'm like, I wish she was here to see this, because she would be yelling at them about how they don't need my picture and they don't need my autograph. And she'd tell me how lazy I was and how stupid I was. It was really funny because eventually all of my friends at work as well had all been Employees of the Month. So we would all go over to her table and say, look, now you haven't had what we have yet. We've all made it. We're willing to mentor you and help you become an Employee of the Month. And she would just start yelling and screaming. But therein lies something that people don't get. I was friends with that woman, and I still am. I think she's great. and her and I get along fine. And at work, when it was just the two of us, if we were both working at the same workstation, we could talk for 2 hours, have a nice conversation, and everything was fine. In a group setting, I would bug the hell out of her. She'd yell and scream at me. She might throw something at me, but none of it was real. Sometimes when I'm online and I do videos, there's times where I'm sarcastic. There's times where I say something and it gets taken out of context. There are times where I might say something just to be funny, and it gets misconstrued online. And it's just part of my personality to be like that. And then you take something I might have said that, gets taken out of context, and then you combine it with the fact that, hey, I loaded up Shannon's video today, and it had 3 ads in it. One at the start, one 8 minutes in, and one at the end. What a money-grubbing piece of crap that guy is. Okay, it's tricky because you don't make as much as you think you might. And not only that, but I've looked into sponsorships, and they don't pay as well as I think a lot of people figure they do either. I've looked at sponsorships I might even be able to get. And then I look at what they pay, and I'm like, okay, so I could do this ad. I could make $100 American. But by doing that ad, I'm going to alienate people who are going to say that I've sold out, or that I'm giving in and whatever. So I don't do them. I don't do the sponsorships I probably could, because I look at it and I go, monetarily it helps a little bit, but in the long run it's not worth it. So I stay out of it. I get emails all the time. Partner with our website, and I don't. I've got a SeatGeek promotion thing that I've never really promoted on the channel. And the reason I haven't isn't because I don't remember. It's because SeatGeek gave that deal out to a lot of people. And people who follow me on Twitter can see it because it's a pinned tweet. And I mentioned it on the channel once already, so I don't feel like I have to mention it constantly. And I don't want to come across as a shill. So again, that all comes back to the he's spoiled, it's all about the money. No. If I was all about the money, I'd do videos on really salacious topics related to hockey, stuff I've heard over the last 30 years. I would do just speculations on trades. The number one thing I could do that I don't do that would generate a ton of revenue, a ton of hits, and a ton of discussion is proposals, trade proposals, where I could put Erik Karlsson on the board and what I think would make that trade work for Dallas, for Tampa, I could do a different team for Erik Karlsson every day, and I could probably just watch as view counts went up and hits went up and subscriber counts went up, and I'm not doing it. So anyways, there you go. Roughly 32 minutes. I don't expect a lot of people to watch this all the way through. I'm also not going to monetize this video because, that's not a big deal to me. And, just as a full disclosure thing, I don't think the Entertainment Guy channel, I think it averages like $20 that it generates in a month. It's not a money maker. And you look at the amount of videos that have been thrown on here and the amount of time that Yvonne and I spend doing like movie reviews and stuff like that. And I know they're not going to get hits. There are movie reviews we've done that get like 100. But if I talk 3 or 4 people into buying a movie I really appreciate, it's worth it. And I might have made 10 cents on the video. So again, it's a weird, strange debate that people have about me, and I don't get it. I don't. And on a closing note, if I really wanted to get people talking, I'd also do a GM video on Joe Sakic. Which, if you're a Hockey Guy subscriber, you would know why that would generate hits, that would generate some chuckles at the fact that I finally did it, and it would harken back to something that I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole. So, again, if I'm trying to make a ton of money, I'm doing a really crappy job at it. I don't make anywhere near the amount of money that is at the top. So if you look at Social Blade, you can look up any YouTube channel on socialblade.com and it'll tell you how much that channel makes. and they show you the minimum and the maximum, and I'm nowhere near the maximum. It's not a thing for me at all. It's like 8K this month, and I'm like, I'm not making, because that's an American. 8K, oh boy, no, that would require a lot more hits, and yeah, no. But anyways, there you go. A little bit of a look inside my thought process as a YouTuber and how things have changed and how strange all this is for me. If you made it this far, thank you. If you didn't, you don't know that I'm telling you that, so that's fine. And I'll talk to you guys again soon.